When Swedish policymakers first floated the idea of extended producer responsibility, EPR, in 1990, the principle was simple. Producers should bear responsibility for the entire life cycle of their products, including collection, recycling, and safe disposal. Today, as countries like India intensify their climate commitments and shift toward a circular economy, EPR compliance has become a critical issue, both a regulatory obligation and a business opportunity. To open our first panel on the topic, Beyond Compliance, Leveraging EPR for Business Sustainability, I invite on the dais our moderator for the session, Mr. Abhishek Deshpande, co-founder and COO Recykal. A huge round of applause for him. It's early morning. I think we can have some more good claps. Thank you. And to join him, our esteemed panel members, Mr. Alok Chandra, Chief HSE and Sustainability Officer, Tata Chemicals. Can we have those claps? Thank you. Mr. Ramnath Vaidyanathan, Head Environmental Sustainability, Godrej Industries Group. Mr. Prabodha Acharya, Chief Sustainability Officer, JSW Group. And Mr. Abhinay Lakhmapure, Chief Business Officer, Sustainability, the Shakti Plastic Industries. A huge round of applause for our esteemed speakers. And over to you, Mr. Deshpande.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome for the first panel. I'm Abhishek, and I feel I'm lucky and honored today to have such a star-studded panel. And when I got an invite from the Bombay Chambers, when I saw the email and invite, obviously Bombay is my favorite city. One reason to come here from all the way from Hyderabad. But when I saw such a star-studded panel, I said, I couldn't resist. I said, ye to banta hai. This is going to be one of the great memory for me. So thanks everyone for being here today. We'll keep it simple. We'll make it interesting. And obviously, all of them have a lot of expertise. And I'm looking forward to learn from all of you. Definitely interesting topic, beyond compliance. And leveraging EPR for the business sustainability. So what I have seen, my perspective here is quickly, I started my company in 2016 and the same time EPR also started. So I have closely followed EPR. It has gone through a lot of evolution. Policy implementation started exactly in 2016 and it changed a lot, right? Lot of stakeholder level alignment, realignment, and obviously EPR is about recycling. Policy also recycled many times by the government authorities. So we all have a lot of experiences and I'm looking forward to hear from you. So how we'll keep the flow? Obviously, I request all of you to give a quick intro and then we'll get into the questions. And then we'll have a rapid fire question in the final. So, Alok ji, if you can start.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alok Chandra, 33 years in chemical industry. Currently, I'm working with Tata Chemicals. I'm globally responsible for HSE and sustainability. I work with DCM Shriram, which is a large factory in Kota. I work with United Phosphorus and SRF Chemical Division. I think, as he was saying, when I wanted to say something in this panel, so I have gone to, nowadays, whenever you have something, knowledge is no bar. So you go to Google or Chat GPT, the kind of tons of, and I can tell you, 18 pages at least, most relevant data and information I got from ChatGPT. So that's the kind of knowledge which is available. Then I decided probably whether these 18 pages are important or whatever I have learned during my especially on the circularity and EPR starting 2016, 22 and now. So probably then I decided, no, I will keep it simple and I will just share the experiences which we have, what we are doing in Tata Chemicals globally, especially on circularity, and of course it will be packed with the EPR because that was one of the catalysts which has paved the way for us to think and rethink. So I'll be sharing few things during the session. Well, thank you very much. I think this is a great opportunity to at least share few things to the audience which knows a lot of things already. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ram. I head Environmental Sustainability for the Godrej Industries group of companies. Essentially, it's made up of 7 different companies. So we have consumer products, we have an agro company, which itself is extremely diversified, 7 or 8 different business areas. We have a properties business, we have a chemicals business. In the last few years, we got into the finance space. We have an NBFC called Godrej Capital. We have Godrej Ventures now and Godrej Living. So fairly wide sort of canvas on which we operate. Not as big as some of the other conglomerates that you see sitting around here. They're much bigger than us, but still pretty diversified. And I've been in sustainability about 17 years. I've been in various functions from regulatory and policy to business development to consulting to now being on the buying side of all these technologies. So it's an interesting space for me to be in now. From a circularity and EPR perspective, I think I want to make one thing very clear is that I actually don't handle EPR. And the reason for that is actually by design, because our team's work actually begins where compliance ends. So compliance is actually, it's taken on by the business teams. We really don't look at it from a compliance perspective. Having said that, regulations like EPR, we are very cognizant about the impact it has on driving sustainability and the larger agenda. Because for better or worse, one of the biggest drivers of sustainability in India has been regulation. And you may say, no, that's not an authentic way to move things forward, but it is proven to be the most effective way. So we have some of the most stringent plastic regulations in the world, and I think that has largely helped in moving some things along on that. What I will be sharing with you is more on business sustainability lessons we learned from EPR and how we're using that to pivot both our sustainability, business, as well as CSR strategies.
Oh, thank you very much, Abhishek. Good morning. My name is Prabodha Acharya. You can call me Prabodha. I'm in this field more than 30 years now. I work as a Chief Sustainability Officer for the JSW Group. I'm sure you all must be familiar with JSW Group. I don't need to tell about that. How I started my career from environmental sustainability, I would say. But during the time when I started, nobody has heard about sustainability. They used to call either environment management or CSR, those kind of terminology were being used. But I would say right now I'm focusing more how to drive business sustainability. So I'll be happy to give that context into these discussions. But after listening the opening remark from Anirban, I'm just wondering how we can add value to these discussions. I'm thinking still. Let me see what question you are asking me. Thank you.
Abhinay.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, happy International Men's Day to all the dignitaries on the dais and the men present in the auditorium. Myself, Abhinay, and I am associated with the Shakti Plastic Industries from past 4 years, working as the Chief Business Officer Sustainability. So, about my career and my background, in 2009, coincidentally, someone approached me to do post-diploma, means after 10th, I pursued my diploma in packaging technology by mistake. So it was a very new field at that time, and eventually I completed my education in that, and I pursued BTech in printing and graphics communication from Pune University. It was also by coincidence, just because I have learned packaging diploma, then I did printing technology, and then I, like a regular corporate jobs, I got campus placed and worked in printing and packaging industry. I worked in Dubai, I worked in pharma company, printing presses, newspaper industry, multiple other companies. And after multiple experience, I came back to India from Dubai, and I was jobless for an year. So one of the lady in the industry, I cannot take her name, she asked me, there is one job on third party role. would you like to try something in EPR? And then I started my EPR journey in 2016. So from that time till now, since 9 years, I am into the EPR, leading the EPR at the Shakti Plastic Industries and also the PCR as well as the CSR initiatives. So we are into the recycling from past 55 years, since 1969, and rest of the experience with respect to recycling as a recycler, core recycler, I will share during the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. So my request to all the panel members, in interest of time, if we can keep answer close to 2 minutes, will be great. I agree with all of you that when EPR started, it was one of the formalization of ecosystem, and over the time, a lot of innovations happened. So you can align accordingly. So when EPR started, it was an obligation. Now it is slowly moving to the advantage. So I really wanted to understand what changed in your respective organizations that help EPR also evolve, and it has moved from compliance to a business lever. If you can share perspective about your respective organization, it will be great.
Yeah. Thanks, Abhishek. I think, one of the things which, when EPI started way back 16, then I think by 20th there was some clarity, and of course, the recent amendments, we have a lot of clarity on this, especially we have both the kind of businesses, B2C and B2B. Say there was some ambiguity on B2B rather than B2C. But say EPR is one side, of course, as a Tata, we have to be compliant for everything, whatever comes, and think beyond. It's not only compliant. But say, and we are producing salt, as you know, that's globally, we are producing soda ash, which is close to 4 million tons. And if you have to pack 4 million tons of soda, then you require a lot of packaging. And that was the trigger point where, when I'm talking about the EPR, when it came, then we thought, okay, if we are using so much of a packaging, and especially in India, where the SKUs were small in size, not as we have North America and UK, where mostly it was the bulk. But the bulk, the problem is that the consumer should have a facility to deal with the bulk, which was not there in India. And that's the issue which we have felt that when we say, okay, can I copy what we are doing in North America and what we are doing in UK? And the big issue was our consumers or the B2B players are ready for that. And that has given a trigger that, can I work with them? Can we, it's a kind of a win-win for both, but it's a partnership. And we said, okay, who are the consumer who can actually afford it? So we went to our key customers and key consumers and then said, okay, can we start it? Can we convert all the small SKUs into the bulk packaging? And it started with the jumbo packing, where the 50 kg converted into 400 kg, 600 kg, 500 kg as per their requirement. But going beyond, then we thought it is not enough. Can I eliminate it? So say replacing plastic with the plastic may not help in the longer run. So we said, okay, can we replace it with non-plastic things? And can we go for the bulkers, which are recyclable? Every time they will come with the 20 ton, 25 ton, 30 ton, and they will fill it and say unload it and comes back. I think that's where we travel the journey. And if you see now how much we can reduce, around 25%, still the journey is on. It's still, especially for India. Globally, we have in North America and UK, it's 100%, which goes into the bulkers, the soda ash. Salt is still, because of the kind of the nature of the product, we still require the small SKUs, but we are working on that. So that's where we feel that the EPR has triggered the thought process, and it was surrounded by the minerals which we are using and we are supplying as a product. So that was one thing which I just wanted to share for all your reference and knowledge. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I'll split it in two particular parts. One is we're talking about EPR purely from a plastics perspective, which is more relevant to our consumer products business, and then circularity for our other businesses, which don't necessarily have EPR impacts, but circular economy is a big part of the future strategy. Now, in plastics at least, when the EPR came about and when it was being formalized, I think we already had internal plastics targets in terms of reduction, intensity reduction, in terms of PCR inclusion, in terms of recyclability. And we were also doing at the same time a lot of CSR projects because plastic is a huge material area for consumer products in the community space. Typical CSR projects where you work with communities to improve segregation, recycling. All of those failed miserably. And the reason for it, the unit economics of plastics and recycling, the way, without a flow pricing, with the way EPR came in, just doesn't work. Right. So all of these are lessons which has led to how we've pivoted our strategy going forward. Now, two very critical things. Now, the EPR mandate as a whole, fine, that's compliance. But the PCR targets now, while on the face of it, there are two challenges which we've now figured out how we're trying to work on it. One is, how do we design for circularity? Because you constantly have, if you're a consumer, if you're an FMCG company, you have a new product pipeline all the time. And there's a stage gate process, all NPD goes through. But it was never asking the question as to when a new product is introduced, is it being designed so that it can comply or minimize our EPR impact? For example, we were always retrofitting things. We design something and say, oh, now can I replace it with PCR? Now what we've done is we've included that ESG lens in the NPD itself. To say anytime a new product comes through the pipeline, say, what is the plastics impact of the need category? Can this be made, and this is what Anupam was saying, can I eliminate the use of certain plastics altogether? Can I use more sustainable alternatives? Can I use PCR? So from a design philosophy, that has changed. The other big areas, more from a procurement perspective, we realized that one of the big challenges that we have is that as we move along the journey to include more recycled plastics, the amount of plastics available is an issue. We don't have enough recycled plastic available. And the real challenge for that is actually that there is no recyclability mandate. There is a PCR mandate, but there's nobody telling companies that you have to use only recyclable packaging. And so, which is why once we've set an internal target to be 100% recyclable plastics in the next few years. The other is also now we've pivoted our CSR approach from community projects to funding startups in incubators and accelerators to work on recyclability, to work on recycling technologies, because the fundamental science of recycling itself needs a lot of boost in India. It's become a procurement exercise. I think we need to go back to some fundamental science on this. Now, moving away from plastics on circularity, and Prabodha is probably the best place to explain this in detail, but we've started identifying circularity as a business opportunity. I'll just take one example from our oil palm plantation, where it's a completely circular business. We use the extract, after the oil is extracted from palm fruit, we use it to convert to briquettes. The cogeneration plant, which is fueled by that briquette, so it's a 100% RE factory. And then the ash from that is converted into biochar and used for fertilizer in the same plantation. Now we realized that now there was further opportunity to extract organics from the effluent. And we invested in a new technology using enzymes, where we're now able to extract organics from it, convert it into CBG, and now we're selling CBG. Now it's become an additional source of revenue for the business now. So that's one example of, I think, where we're pivoting away from looking at circularity as maybe a compliance to more of a business opportunity. But again, like Prabodha and his company, I think they are much more advanced in identifying business opportunities on circularity.
Sure.
So you hand it over to me.
Yes.
No, thank you very much. Your question is what changed after EPR compliance? My answer in short will be nothing much has changed. Okay. Why I say nothing much has changed? Because of the regulations. Because what we understand, EPR is basically the producer of the product or service provider taking responsibility of its products from the entire life cycle perspective. Now, let me take example of JSW Steel. We are the biggest steel company, so I'll use the steel example, but I'll give other examples also. When we talk about EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, we look at from extractions of material from the mining till the product is used and disposed of. And everywhere, we do not see anything as a waste or anything which comes to the process of either productions or goes to the user as a waste material and doesn't have a value. Now, when we produce steel, say if I have to produce 1 ton of steel, I have to use almost 5 to 6 ton of different materials. Includes iron ore, coal, even air, water, all this goes. Now what we do, we produce 1 ton. What happens to other 4, 5 tons? So it becomes slag, which is a waste product. Yes. Huge slags you would have seen, creating hills across the steel plants. You produce a lot of gases. Okay? You produce a lot of chemicals. So what do you do with that? Now, just to give an example, I find this is a beautiful example of circular business model itself. All these slags, almost half a ton per each ton comes out as slag. We created a business called JSW Cement. All these slags are being used by them to make a useful product, and that is used by consumer. So you created a business value. And in the process also, you did not create a product, but you created a cement company which is having lowest carbon footprint in the world among all the cement companies, because you are using a waste product. Yes. The gases you produce, we produce electricity, because this energy again fed back for the steel industry to be used. The steel slags, which is often not used, so we convert it to manufactured sand, which is used in construction industry. In fact, we are proposing to produce fertilizer out of that. It has a lot of lime content, so it is used. Even the dust which comes out from the chimneys, we capture them and use as a sintering material is go back in the production. What I am telling, almost 99.9% of every material coming into the production get used as a value. We do not use word waste. So everything has a value. The 0.001%, that's we are still figuring out the so-called classified hazardous waste, what to do with that. Because I can't possibly create a value, but I'll look at Recykal if you can really find a business model to convert that as a value. Similarly, in the cement industry, we created a cement industry, but cement has to be packed. No, okay, let me take the end cycle. End cycle of the product, that is steel, which is consumed. Steel is 100% recycled. The first piece of iron and steel which was produced by mankind still is in use. So, it is used, ever used. So, it is the material itself is responsible. So, you don't really have those challenges not to find usage. But the cement, what I am coming to the other business, cement where we use, plastics for the packaging. But not much of plastic used in packaging of steel products. There, as I think Anirban was telling, we have created more than 200,000 of positive credit because we use a lot of other plastic products in our kilns to generate energy. So that is a positive aspect we are. In fact, in the steel industry also, we have started injecting plastics into our steel making process. We have electric arc furnace, we are injecting the plastics. We are collecting from our township, because we have huge township around wherever our production facility are. We are collecting, segregating, producing and using those. Same thing I can talk about the steel where you are, Abhishek, you are helping us a lot, that we want more and more steel. So please give us. So anything which you think that is going to be kavadiwala becoming waste, that's actually has a great value with climate change. In fact, the demand for the scrap skyrocketing across the globe. So we are looking for more and more, even not from our products, from others' product, whatever you collect, please give us to us. So in a sense, if I answer your question, extended producer responsibility in a sense by regulation really doesn't make any changes to us, because the fundamental principle at which we look at a business is that everything which is coming out inside the factory and going outside the factory has a value. That mindset change is needed in any business you do, then EPR will not be a burden. If you ask me, changes, has the regulation made any changes? I will say, yes, there has been changes. My paper work has increased. That is the only change I can tell. Thank you. Thank you.
So how it's changed for your business? Because
specifically, I will not talk about the Shakti plastic. I will talk on behalf of the plastic recycling fraternity on India basis. So the major change, or the first, what we can say is the respect, the same kind of respect what the raw material, virgin material manufacturers are getting in the market, like Reliance, IOCL, Propel, ONGC. Same, or we can say a percentage of respect kabadiwalas are earning these days, or the recyclers, by selling the recycled plastic into the market, which earlier they were not getting. Earlier we were saying ki, that is kabadiwala, or that is the normal recycler who is only supplying the material for the commodity manufacturing. But since when the EPR started, the value to the packaging waste has been increased. After that, the packaging waste is getting converted into the commodity, and as per my thought, sustainability or sustainable solutions, no solution is sustainable. As per my thoughts, sustainability is equal to the continuous improvement. So I think these thoughts align with Anirban's thought. So continuous improvement, nothing is sustainable. Each and every day is a new day, and we can improve each day. So even many of the, still there is the challenges with respect to the acceptance of the material, acceptance towards the policy. Still there are the confusions or the lack of clarity in the policies. There is lack of alignment between the pollution control boards, because there are almost 35 pollution control boards and PCCs, including all, and CPCB is the main body. And different states have their own regulations. So education is the key to success, and slowly and gradually this will be adapted. Like this is one of the conferences or conclave I am seeing, there is no plastic bottle on the table. So these are the changes, small changes, but it will make a big impact in future.
Thank you, thank you. So one thing is really appreciate that all the decision makers from the industry is talking about a business opportunity. Like this is a classic change, like nobody is looking only this as a obligation. Everyone is looking as there is a new opportunity. And I always felt that when I started this business also, everyone has to look as a waste, as an opportunity, not a problem. So, and I'm so happy that all of you guys are thinking on the same lines. And मेरा दिन बन गया, मेरा most valuable customer मुझे ही pitch कर रहा है, so I'm so happy. And Tata and JSW, both of them are here. So moving to the next question, obviously I know the paperwork has been increased, but the biggest challenge when EPR started, and we all witnessed, I still remember the early days, like data was a super challenge, because pollution control board started giving us the notices, targets, but all of us has an internal challenge. I work very closely with major brands to define the targets, right? So bigger challenge was supply chains are such a big, because operations are large scale. All of you in your respective companies where you have felt really challenge from the traceability or data capturing. So which are those supply chain data you felt were very hardest to capture? And what solution actually worked for you? Because as per the EPR, you have to give multiple data points like material flows, geotags, and accountability and all. So we all gone through it. So just keeping a simple question, in your supply chain, where you find the hardest to capture that data and how you overcome it? A simple one-line answer may help.
So, if I see a couple of years back, or 3 or 4 years back, the biggest problem we had, the accountability, whether we are only accountable for B2C or B2B, because B2B is also brand. So as a brand custodian, they are doing something, they are declaring. But what we found is whether it is enough, are they declaring? And there was some ambiguity. And we went to the government also, or CPCB also, to make this clear. But so far, we couldn't get any clarity that, okay, this is the firm line. Beyond this, you have to do it. And beyond this, you don't have to. So what we have done as the Tatas, we always go beyond. And we said, okay, if the clarity is not there, then we should not be conservative. We should go overboard, even if it is double reporting or double counting or doing double thing. That's fine, because a lot of things are not reported and a lot of things is still not taken care of. So we have decided that we'll go for both B2C and B2B. But the real challenge is not within the boundary. Within the boundary, we have a SAP system. All the packaging or all the item which goes into EPR is probably right from it enters into the premises and goes out. There's no dearth of the processes system tagging, tracking, nothing. But when it goes beyond, and when we have to work with the recycler, when we have to work with the PBOs, when we have to actually get those credits, we are not very sure that the credit we are getting is actually, say, they are doing the right thing to produce this credit. And that has happened, actually. 3 years back, we were working with one PBO, and, and then out of curiosity that, okay, we have internal audits, and we do also internal audit for our customers and suppliers. We did that, and we found that the capacity or capability which they had, they were producing more credits or certificates than what actually they had. And then, okay, we said, okay, this is a trust problem. And we discontinued with that particular thing. And we said, okay, we move to something which has a credibility. So I think it's still, this area is a little bit where we have to venture when we go beyond the boundaries. And say, probably we'll talk about how we can collaborate and how we can put together these things to address this particular issue, which is still an issue for the industry.
Right.
So I'll split it into 3 particular aspects. The first 2 are more to do with plastics. The other is general traceability. Sure. On plastics, again, one is an internal realignment of how we change our data systems to accurately count the kind of plastic and the quantities we use, because unlike a lot of other, say, chemicals or maybe other commodities, there's no physical marker for recycled plastic. It's purely on the basis of financial information, because you get an invoice buying a certain amount of recycled plastic, and you have to trust that that certificate that the supplier has holds good for that amount.
Right.
Unless you audit the suppliers, you don't get, there's no physical information. You can't look at a piece of plastic and say whether it's recycled or not.
Yes.
Or there's no lab test for that. So we had to rework our entire SAP system to start having that detail come in our invoices itself, as to what kind of plastic was being used, which category fell into, what polymer type it had, and rebuild our entire back-end SKUs to say, if I look at one SKU, here is the contribution of each kind of plastic, here's the recyclability level of this particular product right now, and here's the amount of PCR that's going into it.
Right.
It sounds easy. It took us more than a year to fix that back-end. That was one part. The other, which has already been addressed to a large extent, is actually the level of trust in the supply chain. And that's something, honestly, we haven't really cracked it yet.
Yes.
Because we have invested and we've hired consultants to do audits of our suppliers, but even that is a small sample audit. It's not a representative of the larger value chain. So one of the things which we're also looking from an advocacy perspective as part of our new strategy is also trying to see how the enforcement and regulatory mechanism around PCR can be built. Because currently the standards, one is PCR technologies, but what standards are they expected to comply with is not very clear. Standards of chemical recycling, standards of mechanical recycling, all that is not clear, because tomorrow, once you start having 5 or 6 cycles of recycled plastic, which generation of recycled plastic is in a particular polymer or a resin is going to be very complicated to figure out. So that's the second bit of it. In general, traceability data, the biggest issue is that value chains are not as simple as when we put them on a chart, we say, oh, there's a manufacturer, then there's a logistics, and then there's an off-taker. There are 100 different components between like aggregators and traders, where data is completely opaque. And there is no incentive for them to share that data.
Yes.
So solving for that, maybe technology can help. But I want to throw a slight curveball here, saying that before we decide that the best way to approach this is to throw billions or trillions, as Anirban said, towards solving for data to the last mile, to the last decimal point, is it really worth doing that? Because data is only useful in the context of decision making. You need a certain granularity of data only if it enables you to make decisions, and not more than that. So that's what is really critical for this.
Nice.
No, thank you. I think I agree with Ram. The biggest challenge is traceability, and because that also determines the quality. To overcome that challenge, I think previously in my previous organization we started to use blockchain, but it has not been really very successful. Many of the people who are into the business, they come and tell me that, why don't you include blockchain into the supply chain? Looking at the unorganized sector, I really doubt their telling me what they mean it. So yes, that remains challenge. How we are overcoming that. One example, my head of the scrap supply chain, he was telling, sometime we get explosive which are not detonated. Gas cylinders. This could be really safety issues. This could be real, not only ensuring that you get the right material, but it could be safety issues. So these are the challenges. To overcome what we are doing, possibly we are doing two things. One thing is that we are bringing in trusted partner like Recykal, you Abhishek helping us, bringing in that. And we are also ourselves investing in the part of the supply chain so that we remain assured of at least the quality what we get. And then you can have a trust. So it's all about how do you build trust in the system.
I agree. Thank you.
I agree with all of you three guys, and only thing I would like to add is yes, considering the raw material, also when we do the final quality check of the PCR material or any other raw material also, if we get the mix of the material and if there is the lack of source from the material has come, if I get the one full truck of the HDP and if there are mix of 3 different grades, it is mix of 210 liter drums, it is also mix of 50 liter cans and also of the 1 liter bottle. So there will be difference in the MFI, and that's what the main challenge we face in current stage. And this challenge we face just because we cannot bring back to our factory every time the material in the solid rigid form. To maintain our logistics and supply chain cost, we need to bring it back in the shredded form only. Even if we put the barcode or QR code on each bottle or sticker to identify it, but to bring back to the facility to recycle it again. So that's why I am completely opposing the reuse of the plastic, just because one side we are talking about the carbon emission savings and sustainability part, and when we talk about the reuse of the rigid containers, to do the reuse of the rigid containers, we need to bring the empty containers to the factory, which will take the extra cost. Second point, it will again take the water for the washing. Before refilling the containers, it will take the water. So reuse of the rigid packaging is contradictory, I think so. And with respect to this data, for us, the supply chain, with respect to procurement, that is a major challenge.
Thank you. So Alokji, I have a very specific...
Abhishek, before, I think we were talking a lot about the business opportunity which exists from the morning we are talking about. I just wanted to give a business opportunity here itself.
Sure.
Because those who are into the plastic PCRs, I am in a huge need of good quality of plastic that I want to inject to my blast furnaces. So here is an opportunity. Please give me those quality, because we talked about the quality is the main issue in the supply chain and I don't know how to handle, and you are the expert, possibly you can handle. Give us those plastics. One condition, the cost of the plastic supply has to be at least at par with my cost of coking coal. That's a business opportunity I'm throwing in this channel.
And it's not only for you, again, industry insights, like brands has wanted to take that thing, but the major challenge of the industry is getting the quality, because obviously you are going to replace the virgin plastic, so it has to be equally good enough, right? And the consistent supply. So that's the really a challenge at this.
Yeah, but Abhishek, I'm not talking about replacing virgin plastic. I'm interested in this waste plastic. Okay, I'm not interested in the virgin plastic. Okay. So here is a business opportunity, but that links to the challenge that you ask us the question is about traceability and the quality. Yes. So we need to as a industry, we need to invest in this.
Agree. Sure. So Alokji, question is to you. In what ways is Tata Chemical embedding the circular design and resource efficiency into a manufacturing value chain to elevate both product quality as well as HSE performance?
Yeah, I think very relevant, because, as a chemical industry, most of our raw materials and the utilities which you are using, this is coming from natural resource. And, optimizing, if we have to run the company, we have to use these natural resource. That is given. The only thing what we can do is how can we eliminate it? And probably the answer is no. Can we replace it? Probably the answer is no. So can we optimize it? Can we do everything to ensure that nothing goes as a waste? And if you, some of you may have heard of, at group level, we have a sustainability project which is called Alingana. And it is very dear to us. And one of the pillars, there are 3 pillars, decarbonization, biodiversity, these are the 2 key pillars. But one key pillar which is, balance between the biodiversity and decarbonization is the circularity. And in circularity, we are not only talking about the circular where we talk about the supply chain, we talk about the raw materials and those things we go beyond and we say, okay, can we have a zero landfill? Can we have a zero, wastewater going outside our premises? Can we even cut my water uses by this much percentage? Can we reharvest water, whatever water we are using in our operations? Can we put it back? So those kind of a key, targets are there, and very stringent target. The deadlines are 2030. Even the renewable, deadlines were 2025. Couple of example I will give, and it will be, maybe information, but you can apply the similar thing in your the industry. The salt which we are producing in our Mithapur, can you believe that we are net producer of the soft water. So we are not taking any soft water from either from ground or from the surface. We are actually taking the seawater, evaporating, getting the salt, and kind of a brine, and the distillate which we get is the fresh water. And we blend it with the minerals and use it for potable purpose and this, the other uses in the process. So that's one example where you can fit into this is circularity, where we have said, okay, we'll not use any water from outside. The second thing which we I said we are producing around 4 million of soda ash globally. Can you believe that 1/4 of that, the raw material which is kind of a waste for some other processes. So the limestone which we use in soda ash process there is a fines of those limestone, and it is to the tune of around 0.5 million. We use it in our cement process. And not only that, the cement process, the cement plant has been started to utilize the waste of the soda ash. So the cement, the entire process and the plant, it on waste. So waste from soda ash, as far as limestone is concerned, waste from the solids which are going back into the sea, we filter it and we say, okay, the TSS level will minimize this, and whatever solid we get, it has a calcium value, so we use it in the cement. That's another piece where a big example of circularity. We have a Rallis India, which is our subsidiary, and they are into, we are into the agrochemicals, and all the organics are there. And there the philosophy is nothing will go as a waste. Either we utilize the minerals which are there, say wells from waste kind of a thing which we are doing. If nothing can be done, it will go for co-processing to the cement plant, and probably you will utilize the calorific value which is there. So I think it is woven into the design of the product, and wherever already design took place 40 years back or 70 years back, we are trying to see that wherever the opportunities are there, can we use the fresh technology, can we use something which is used in other part of the world, and can we learn from them. And since we have a presence in 4 geographies, always we learn from others, and even from India, they learn and they deploy the best processes which are there. So this is how we are balancing between the different processes and different geographies. But the sole purpose is, of course, circularity driven through the Alingana is one of the key aspects which our chairman talks about, and he is very particular about this particular fact. Yeah.
Interesting. So Ram, this is for you. I really want to understand. I heard you you're talking about a lot of innovation at Godrej and data.
Yeah.
When with sustainability now deeply tied to innovation, what role do data, digital to play in helping Godrej measure, manage, and accelerate its environmental impact goals? Because you talk about the data and it's very interesting to
so
hear.
Data is very important, obviously. But like I said, more important than data is having a framework to be able to utilize the data for decision making. But data in itself is not enough. For example, if you're doing climate risk assessments and you're getting a lot of data about impacts of, say, heat stress or water stress on your manufacturing, unless you integrate that with your enterprise risk management framework, unless you make that part of future business planning, it's not really useful. So I think the important thing is to strike a balance between investing in the depth of data versus the usefulness of it. So for example, if I'm looking at the farmer value chain and looking at data on, say, weather patterns or looking at data on rainfall, now how am I able to condense that into information that I can then pass on to farmers to make decisions? That's where it becomes really critical for us. So we've invested heavily in data on our operational footprint. Where we are a bit more skeptical is about data in the supply chain, because garbage in, garbage out. So it cannot just be a tool for a checkbox to say, look, we've just collected all the information from suppliers. How are we really diving deep into that? Even if it means looking at your supplier scorecards and saying, look, these 10% of my suppliers are the ones who are very critical, who are investing in data, who are investing in sharing the information. How do I work with 10% to make their performance better? That is where we're focusing on, rather than saying, let's continue to throw money at trying to get everything down to the last mile. Because you were talking about the agri-value chains earlier, and you're talking about blockchain. Somebody actually did pitch this to me, to calculate traceability of dairy emissions using blockchain. I'm like, the smallest unit of supply there is one farmer with 2 cows. How on earth are you going to use blockchain at that level? And is it really practical? And is it really cost feasible? It may be that it will solve that problem, but does it really merit that investment? Do we have that kind of time? That's the other thing we're constantly fighting against. These things will take time to develop. We don't have that kind of time. We have to start taking actions, and we have to use data in whatever rudimentary form it is in right now to be able to take those decisions.
Great. So Prabodha, this is for you. So obviously we know JSW is into multiple industries, large-scale operations, industrial growth. What strategies are providing most effective in an integrated circular economy thinking? You already spoken that you have, outside we were talking about multiple initiatives you are doing. So what kind of those circular initiatives in operations and in the thinking you're implementing, if you can just throw that light?
Yeah, I think I have spoken about in the initial examples, but I will again start with what is your thought process? What is your mindset? In a business, if you are, what I have seen, people love to see the opportunity. Now, when we talk about EPR, we need to look at opportunity in the entire life cycle. So, if you can change that mindset that where are the opportunity and how we can utilize that opportunity to a business value, then much of your problem is solved. And that is what exactly we at least practice. That each of my value chain, right from mining till the product goes to the customer and customer starts using, all associated outputs, outcome, we don't use the word waste even. Because when you use the word waste, you think this doesn't have a value. So again, it is a thought process. So we think everything has a value and that need to be used, whether it is gas for electricity, whether it is slag for cement, whether it is steel scrap for recycling, whether it is chemicals to be used, whether it is water to be really recycled, reused. Even I'll give an example, when we use, I think the beautiful example he showed in the value chain. We looked at the right side, all the landfills, all the air pollution, all the water pollutions. To prevent that, what we do, we are designing all our chimneys to emissions to the level of 5 microgram per meter cube, which is very less. But in the process, what you do, you actually eliminate all these solid products, and this becomes solid byproducts, right? And we need to use that while you are addressing air pollutions. And that is where we capture those and then reuse as a sinter and again put it into the iron making process and use to replace some of the raw materials. So again, it is a thought process. My advice to everybody, whatever you look at in the business, You will have two things, opportunity, risk, right? Look at the opportunity and convert your risk to the opportunity. That's the thought process. And that is why we are trying to use everything. Have we been successful in converting all the opportunities to business values? May not be. But that is, you asked me what is the thought process. And that is the thought process. And I believe if everybody, whatever you do, use that thought process, you don't need 1.8 Earth. You can manage with 1 Earth. Thank you.
So last question for this panel. Abhinay, what role do recyclers like Shakti Plastic play in making EPR implementation scalable in the country?
So I will keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
So first of all, I completely agree with Prabodha. So it's a game of mindset. EPR is a game of mindset. Sustainability, acceptance. If you look towards the scrap like a scrap, if you are ready to pay for the recycled material, the quality recycled material, then you have to give the value as well. You cannot say that I want the recycled material at 50% rate of the virgin plastic. It is not possible because the supply chain cost is there behind it. And the brands are paying for that as well. Second thing, EPR is one thing. At the start, when EPR started in 2016, Abhishek, you may agree with this, that at that time it was cherry on the cake. But slowly and gradually, since 2022, the PCR, the reuse, and other things are added into the amendment. Now the cake has more value than the cherry. So I think all the recyclers should focus on the cake now, because that will help them to build their PCR as well as non-PCR business. They will be able to supply the material for packaging as well as commodity. Collaborations are very much important going forward, because earlier we were only focusing on the repeated customers. But since EPR is same like we can say the chain business, if we are connected with one brand, that brand is procuring from 40 different packaging converters. So brand will not directly purchase from the recycler. He will connect you with their packaging converters, and then you have to do the trials and other things. So the collaborations are very much important, and as the recycler, I think a major of the recyclers in India, they will focus on, everyone have their own perspectives and visions. Few of them focuses only on exports, grade wise. But being a Shakti Plastic, we are for next 3 years, we are majorly focusing on the rigid packaging. And that's it from my side.
Thank you. So very insightful. Thank all the panel members. With interest of time, I think we can just take one question.
Yeah, exactly. Just one or max two, not more
Max
than that,
two.
because we're
So
running a
any
little
questions?
bit late. Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sangeeta. I lead circular economy at ERM. Everyone spoke about the change, mind shift change, and about industry-wide collaboration. But you all have examples of how you have already done that within your operations. But I'm sure there are multiple things where you need to collaborate, you have to look at things at an association level. I'm wondering if you can share some examples where it has been very difficult for you to convince the rest of the industry on some things which can easily help achieve circularity or move towards circularity, but still it's difficult to convince people. If you might be able to share some examples.
Thanks for asking that question. I skipped that question with interest of time. But keep it short. Try to keep it short.
One quick answer, I think, we are working, I would not say it is a failure. I think a lot of good success is happening. We are collaborating through the climate group to create a net zero steel industry, where we are collaborating with the academia, with the OEMs, with the car manufacturer and the steel manufacturer together. And I am pleasantly surprised the progress is going better than our expectations. There are challenges, the challenges need to be overcome. there are a lot of examples in every sector, but I think you hit up on the right questions. Collaboration is needed if we need to accelerate. Whether circular economy, whether business process, whether climate change, anything, collaboration is needed.
Just one very quick addition to that is that it's also contextual. Like wherever a consortium or collaboration has to happen, forward or backward integration, it's easier. I think with circularity, where the struggle comes from this lateral work. Because if chemical industry has to depend on the agro industry for some sort of circular, that's where those linkages are more difficult to bring players on. But in the real estate, it's a very clear example because getting steel, cement, glass, and properties businesses to work on something is actually a much easier task. But if you look at chemical industry and then say cross-link it to say cement, and having those linkages, building those platforms takes a lot because they're not able to see the lateral value for it. They only look at forward and backward integration. So that's where the challenge really lies.
Just one small, Manish Panchal from Equus Capital and ex-head of Tata Strategy Management Group. Also India leader for DuPont Sustainable Solutions. So any example leading to this question where any of us have paid premium on green dot products, if, of course, we've discussed a lot of it. Taking a cue from Abhinay's point that recycled material is being asked at discount. And second point is why recyclers have to face this Ariba? So reverse auction. Can we not put it out of that?
But I can only speak from our perspective, and I don't think it comes at a discount for us because right now, like I mentioned earlier, there's a shortfall of recycled material.
No, so one example where you're paying premium.
We're paying premium for PCR plastic because there's a supply-demand mismatch. Because of compliance, there's a huge demand right now. The supply isn't there. So we're having actually to pay a surcharge on PCR right now, which we're doing. Also, mainly you can say it's because of compliance. Yes, but it is something that people are taking up. Palm oil is another great example. Sustainable palm oil comes at a premium. But that is something people pay for when there's a sustainable value added to it. But I want to flip it to the other direction as well, that when there is a discount on green, do we offer that to our consumers as well? We're very keen on passing on green premiums down the chain. But when we save money from renewable projects, are we willing to pass on those discounts to our customers? We don't. So I think we need to relook at the idea of everything green coming with a premium or a discount and really understanding how to pass on value down the value chain.
I can answer this in 30 seconds. One best example. If you land at Mumbai airport, whatever, you will see outside the window all the blue tarpaulins. Or if you see anywhere in India, you will get to see the blue drums only in rigid packaging. As per the layman language, that is the reuse for them, which they are using at the construction site. But when you source the drums or the rigid scrap, you will only get the blue scrap in huge number. But the market demand is the natural or the white color because they want to add on their brand color and manufacture their packaging. So the supply in the market for the natural or the transparent material is less. That's why matching the value is different, and there is the excess supply of blue material which is having the mix of the material due to which the quality issues are there.
Can I have a quick response? My quick response that greenium doesn't exist. The price of a product or service is dependent on supply and demand. It's a very simple principle. What you call you are getting initial green premium, I call greenium, that is might be a supply and demand equations. So please don't think that you will get a greenium.
Yeah, my response is, still we are not mature to go to that level where premium comes, but at least I think what we are experiencing in the competitive, it definitely produces a competitive edge where this is a tick, you got a tick, so business continuity will be there. So I think I kind of align with this thought process, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen. A very distinguished panel. A huge round of applause for them, please. Thank you. I will request Mr. Anirban Ghosh, chairperson of our Sustainability Committee, to present them with mementos. And we are wondering whether would you like a tea break or we go on to the next session? Tea break. Okay. A quick short tea break of 5 minutes. That's it. You can get your cups inside. Yeah. You can get a cup inside because we have got more heavyweight discussions in store for y'all. Can we have some claps? Yeah. Thank you. Please stay back for a group photograph. Even the mementos we are giving y'all are sustainable, so we hope you'll like it. Surely they deserve a round of applause. I know y'all are busy getting your teacups. Yeah, and now for the group photographs. You can keep your bags or on the chairs, and we can have the group photograph. Yeah. Yeah, just keep it there and just a group photograph, please. Thank you. And to your audience, we see you back in exactly 5 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes.